good to see you back on this channel. Over the last year I gained a lot of experience in making videos, and I thought it could be a good point to share this with you this time around. You've seen it in the intro probably. We are talking about log formats. What is it? How can you use it? And why should you care? So stick around because I'm going to answer all of these things in this video. So let's get started with the basics. What is log formats? A log profile is basically a flat color profile that is designed to give you more dynamic range of your camera. It's basically like a raw photo of your camera, but in video. Instead of baked in colors and contrast, you get a more neutral image you can work with later in post-production, and so you have more flexibility and more options later on. Log footage looks really bad straight on. If I turn off the LUT of the video or like the color correction, you can see it. Now I'm in the color profile or the flat color profile. You need to color correct it or convert it to your color profile to get the perfect colors and more flexibility. The things you get with log, as I mentioned, is more dynamic range. More dynamic range means you have more information in your highlight, more information in your shadow, and you can retain all of that in the post-production later on. So why would you bother with log? Log allows you to capture more detail and challenging lighting, like a bright sky or a dimly lit scene, and there's the creative side. With log you have more creative decisions. You can play with the contrast, you can play with the colors more, especially when you have a 10-bit camera. You can really push it far, can create your own style and much more. Alright, now that you know why log is so powerful, I now show you how to use it and how to set it up. I got my Sony camera over here, but you can do it with every other brand. I go to the settings. You can find it under the picture profile under your camera, and there are different modes you can set up. For example, on the Sony side you have S-Log2, S-Log3. Yeah, these are the two on the Sony side. You have also C-Log, Airy Log, Blackmagic, White Gamut. So it depends on your camera what settings you're gonna use. For this time I'm going to use S-Log3. It's the most flat profile Sony has, and it gives you the most dynamic range of your camera. One crucial thing is that log has mostly in base ISO. This is the minimum ISO to get you the full dynamic range, but also less noise in your shot. For S-Log3 it's basically 800, and the FX3 I'm shooting right now has also the 12,800 ISO. Shooting below that can result in unwanted noise and less detail. Log likes to be a little bit more overexposed, but not too much. You can check this with your Zebra or the false colors to get your exposure right. And if you have a camera that supports LUTs or have a monitor, you can load one in and check it right on set if you have the exposure right, and get you going from there. Shooting log is half the battle. The real magic happens in the post-production. And now I show you my workflow, or how you can color correct it to Rec 709 in DaVinci Resolve. We are now in DaVinci Resolve. I've already set up some shots here. It's like this one, and the one with a car, and another one with a car. I've shot over the past years. You can do it in the free version, you can do it in the paid version, it doesn't matter. It also doesn't matter on what camera you shot it. It only matters that you shot it in log. I show you now how you can correct it to an Rec 709. So we go right to the color tab, down here. And now you have these nodes on this side. And we are going to put on an effect called Color Space Transform, and you find it under the effects tool, under color space transform, put it on there, and now you have a bunch of things you can do with it. So we start with the input color space. This is the color space of your camera, and the output color space would be the color space of your monitor, of your things. In this example, it would be Rec 709. So we start with the input color space. The input color space is on this shot S gamma 3 Cine, because I shot this on a Sony camera. You also have some examples of the red or of Blackmagic, Arri, and also Canon. So we put in the S gamma 3 Cine. You already seen that this image has changed a little bit. I can turn it on and off. So there's some saturation and maybe a little bit of contrast, but not that much. The real contrast gets you with the input gamma. The input gamma was or is S-Log3. You also have S-Log2 and all these others of Canon and Blackmagic and something else. We put in S-Log3 because that's the gamma I shot it, and it turns out black. That's normal sometimes, because we didn't set the output color space yet. We go into the color space, the final footage to be. So for normal devices it's Rec 709 because every device supports it, so we use it. Rec 709 is the output color space. It didn't change that much, but if you do the output gamma, we can go down here to the gamma, and we put in the gamma 22, 24, or yeah, any other gamma, but 24 seems right for me. You see, the image had changed a lot. It now has been a very good saturation, a very good contrast ratio, and it looks overall like I shot it on that day. Also, if you want a full breakdown on how I color grade my videos, leave down a comment and I will get back to it in another video. Let's move on. This is the basic correction. So the basic and the technical correct way. You also could do it, I turned that off that node and put one before it. You could also do it with these curve points here and put them back and something like that, and get also pretty far with that. But it's not technically correct, and if you want to work a little bit more professional, I would recommend you to use the color space transform. It's faster, it's easier, and I have another shot right here. This is this one. This was also shot with a Sony camera, so we also put the color space transform on it. We searching for S gamma 3 Cine and put on the S-Log3. It's also dark. Then we need to get the Rec 709 and gamma 2.4. And now we have the right exposure and the shot looks really, really nice. On the last clip, like a quick tip, you can use your mouse wheel. If you click your mouse wheel on the last or on the clip you already created, you can apply the grade to your new image. So I don't have to do it again. These settings are here, these notes are already. And maybe if you see down here in the scopes that your shot is a little bit too dark or it doesn't feel right with the exposure, you can always come in here and put a note before that. That's Shift and S on my key bindings, and you could turn up the gamma to get it more, get more exposure in the midtones, and maybe turn down the lift to get more the blacks more deeper. And also you can do it with the gain. So you can control the exposure later on, and you also can match out your exposure really easily on other shots. And it also helps a lot if you use the color space transform instead of the actual curves, like down here. If you use the curves down here, you always could end up with different contrast ratios of your shot. It doesn't look as similar as maybe your last shot or before that. And on the day, if you didn't change any camera settings, you could just use the color space transform and have a really good starting point and all the contrast and all the saturation at the same level of your footage, instead of going in there manually and trying to get it right. That's basically it on the DaVinci side. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. So log is powerful, but you can mess up a bunch of things. So you can overexpose it too much, or you can underexpose it, and your footage won't look really nice, and it's hard to get them back to it. So you need to get a little bit of experience on it. If you have the experience, or if you tested some things out, it's really nice, it's really good, and it makes really fun to create it and see the end result. So another common mistakes you can do is to don't grade it. Log is meant to design that you put in the work and also grade your image or get it corrected at the end. My advice would be always to test your camera settings before you shoot and try things out, mess some things up and learn from it. It's the best thing you can do. And there you have it. That's everything you need to know about log footage, and it's an awesome part of the filmmaking. And if you want to get more experience with your videos, it's, I think, a must to do. And you can push your creative limits, you can do all these things. It requires some practice, it requires some experience, but you get the hang of it. Have you tried shooting log or have some questions? Let me down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your experience. If you have some other topics you want to know, please let me know down below. Give a thumbs up, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Peace.